Hey, aujourd'hui, je vais parler de whether it was worth giving up what I gave up when I retired in my 30s. I mean, it was the late 30s, but I still did make that decade cutoff. Hey, Zemfuck here. So today's clip comes from a question I saw on the Fire subreddit, where the OP basically asked whether retiring in one's 30s is worth it. The context being that he's a single dude who's got a rather average passive income stream, but also a reasonably well paying job. So he was kind of on the fence about giving up a job that he did not, in fact, hate. Simply to do what? Travel, that whole generic fire dream, isn't it? I mean, I read the question and thought, oh boy, this really fits close to me, okay? Because I was in the same situation, right? I was in my 30s, I was single, I wouldn't say my projected withdrawal amount at the time was fat fire by any means. I also did have a job that I definitely did not hate. So today I'm reflecting on how I feel about my personal journey in this very specific instance, right? So I think what I will do is to separate this single question into three pieces for separate emphasis, right? Because I think uh, to me, this is more about a combination of circumstances, not just about, specifically the age range of 30s, but also at a kind of normal income level, also without the lack of this get me the hell out of here attitude towards work, okay? So hopefully somebody out there can get something out of this clip. I'm just using this forum to vent however I want, obviously. Anyway, if you're intrigued by what I might say, please subscribe, like, comment, and share, and all those social media buzzwords or whatever, because I'm rich enough for me, and I'll be great regardless. So, was it worth for me to exit with the median-ish income that I left with? Okay, so, well, this first point I think is almost entirely philosophical, since I've been reading through the Fire forums for a bit over a decade now, I definitely recognize there is a significant subset of the Fire group people who's always concerned with not having enough luxuries during their entire retirement. I mean, I suppose that is a reasonable thing to be thinking about considering the ultra-consumer society that the modern West world is currently at. But personally, I find this type of argument kind of absurd, okay? I think there's a world of difference between living a reasonably comfortable life versus a life with luxuries, right? And probably not surprisingly, I think the word luxury actually is mostly a negative instead of a positive word, right? People use luxury as a stand-in for, I don't know, maybe getting a maid or a cook or a driver, but the thing is, if luxury goods and services are meant to make one's life easier and easier, the logical conclusion of that is simply to have other people do literally everything, and we human beings would be reduced to what exactly? I mean, in this world, a rich person is just going to be shaped like Jabba the Hutt, right? I mean, there's a reason fatties were the sign of luxury back in the days, because why move when you can make other people move and do things for you? But in modernity, does that sound like a reasonable plan? Not to me. So I think a moderate income is not only easier to achieve, but actually better for the soul. Yeah. Second point, right? Was it worth for me to detach myself from a job that I definitely did not hate? Okay, see, I can empathize with the OP a lot on this one, okay? I get it. Some people really, really can't wait to get out of their jobs. Because they really hate it. I mean, after I left that was one of the most repeated questions that I got from my close ones in my family, right? They will ask, oh, was it because you hated your job so much? My answer was, and remains to this day, nah, I mean, I could have kept on doing that corporate gig forever or until they didn't want me anymore. That's the truth, okay? It's not like I didn't have any fun at work. I did. I made great friends, I made great money, I got to travel just the right amount at the end of my career, I would say. So I think I had it fairly good. I mean, I was a white-collar worker that could goof off at work a little bit, even when I'm in the office. Plus, I had a pretty solid reputation there as well, not to toot my own horn or anything, okay? So if I wasn't averse to a great-paying job, similar to the OP's pretty well-paying job, why would someone choose to leave such an enviable position? The answer, I think, is simple. That's opportunity cost, right? Just because I didn't hate my work, it still took up the vast majority of my time, okay? While I had no problems doing the work, that doesn't mean that I thought it was the absolute best and most efficient way for me to spend my time or my days either. It's like saying, hey, I like pizza, I can keep eating pizza forever. But if I chose pizza, it has to be pizza and only that for the foreseeable future. Instead of choosing that, I choose the freedom to eat whatever I want, which, by the way, includes the option of having pizza again if I'm so inclined. Right? Same thing with fire, really. For people on the fence about leaving the job, okay, I always say, just do it if you have the financial means. Because if you really dislike it, you end up disliking it, no one's going to stop you from going back to work, especially from a non-traditional retirement age like your 30s, okay? No one's going to bat an eye on that. Now, finally, was it worth for me to leave specifically in the age range of my 30s, right? Which I suppose for the vast majority of people, they'd think, well, this is simply too early after all. For normal people, 30s to 40s is considered prime earning years. That's true, but we have to consider why it's called prime earning years. It's called that because these decades of middle adulthood really is when most people peak balancing their physical and mental peaks, okay? So it's really just their prime years. So if you choose to not use them to earn, what would the alternative be? For me, it's easy. I call them my prime enjoyment years. I mean, sure, would I have wanted to enjoy life more even earlier, let's say in my 20s? Absolutely, but I did not have any resources in my 20s because I'm not a trust fund baby, okay? I earned my money. I'm pretty sure that's pretty universally applicable, right? The only people who can enjoy life with abundant resources, even before their 30s are most likely doing so with unearned wealth. And that, to be honest, comes with a whole different set of issues, okay? Subject for a different video, really. So the best that I can do personally is to exit in my 30s, and I have to say, because I already didn't need a lot of material luxuries, having the freedom of my time back when I'm feeling healthy is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, often I tell my wife, since I've early retired, that I've never felt younger, okay? Even as I'm getting up in my 40s now, okay? And that's what the lack of an everyday job burden would do for you, I would think. At least that's what it did for me. Your mileage may vary, I suppose. So, in conclusion, do you need lots of money to retire in your 30s? Well, of course, the answer is it depends, right? You pull the trigger, especially if your job situation isn't that bad. Of course, that'll make the decision a little harder. My question is really, how much is your time worth to you? Do you want to spend your years in the office, most likely at a cubicle, going to meetings that might feel increasingly meaningless? Or do you want to be the master of your own fate? Okay, I mean, let me be clear. It's not all upsides. For me personally, even now, sometimes it feels a little daunting to be controlling 100% of my own time. But since I've retired already a handful of years ago, I would rather feel the uncertainty of how to spend my time rather than worry about which direction the company will move me, okay? Freedom is not without cost, of course, but I think totally worth it for me, okay? And you? Let me know in the comments below. Cheers. À la prochaine.